the people of Canada at this hour to join with me in expressing our gratitude as a nation for the deliverance from the evil forces of Nazi Germany.
I remember the day the war ended, I was walking home from Central, the old Irwin Drug, and they're selling this special edition, The War Has Ended. That's how I knew the war was over. Out of high school, I had the world by the tail. I didn't know what I was going to do. It was 1947, 48, and the campus as such was one brick building, I think about 3 stories high, and Dr. Garden, who was the principal, had his office there. My lectures were in Quonset huts, left over from the World War. Our gymnasium was in Moana Barracks, and I played basketball for the team, and I chose Mount Royal because I could go for probably a tenth what it would cost my family to go to Edmonton. Not only did they were part of the University of Alberta, but they also had a working relationship with the University in Oklahoma. And I had the idea that I might like to do petroleum engineering. Somewhere in that year that I was at Mount Royal, I was torn about going to Oklahoma or go to Edmonton. And no regrets. I went to Edmonton and took medicine and instead of going to Oklahoma and take petroleum engineering. What I really remember about Mount Royal were my teachers. And, you know, I was being taught till I was 31, so I had a lot of teachers. But the ones at Mount Royal were, I thought, outstanding. The one I remember well was English 2, and I was taught by Mr. Kelly, who was absolutely a fantastic teacher, and opened my eyes to English literature. But Mount Royal is a hidden gem. We've always known that. And I've always been proud to be an alumni, you know. I think I got a superior education there. Well, when I finished my training in Edmonton, I wanted to do another year. I wanted to do pediatrics because I really didn't have any real pediatric training. I elected to go to St. Louis, which in those days was one of the top 3 orthopedic centers in North America. So when I came back to Calgary, obviously I was the only one that had any specific training in children's orthopedics, and I became the head of the kids' hospital, and we're talking about 61 now. And that's the year that we started training residents from Edmonton and Saskatoon. They would come here for 6 months to do pediatric orthopedics. I started seminars for residents, and nowhere in Canada did they have this. And so that all changed. I guess the greatest thing I ever had anything to do with was being a founding father of a medical school. Very few people have that opportunity. And you don't realize that when you're doing it, but that's the way it turns out. One of my interests in life have been CME, continuing medical education. You got to continue to educate yourself. And the problem now is the economics of medicine has become extremely difficult for family doctors to take time away. And it has evolved into what they call Glen Edwards Day, which is a symposium once a year. And it's become a very popular thing, and they get 300 or 400 people at it. Everything I did, you know, it's my job. And it's not a big deal. Everybody's doing, you're doing your job, and as long as you enjoy it.